Hey, what's up guys, it's LearningPitStop here. So I just wanted to take today to explain this article to you. So, just to start a little bit about myself. I'm currently a student at Penn State, studying IT. And, I've built a couple computers. And, I'm going to help you explain some of the PC components and give my thoughts on this article a little bit. Some things I'd change, my own opinions. So, number one, they start with the budget here. But if I had to start, if somebody was building a computer, I'd say, what are you doing with this computer? Are you going to be doing, looking at Facebook, browsing the internet a little bit? Are you going to be gaming, maybe photo editing, doing some video editing too along with that? So when considering the budget, it depends a lot on the purpose. If you're just putting something together to browse the internet with, you can do that for $400 or $500. But if you're getting into the high end where you really want your visuals to look good while you're gaming or video editing, you're going to probably be looking in the $1,000 to $1,500 range for something that you're going to want to be interested in. So one of the first components to consider is certainly the processor. So when we're looking at that, there's going to be a couple choices you have to make. Number one, you're going to have to choose whether you want an AMD or an Intel chip. In general, I'd say, Intel chips perform a lot better when you're doing like single tasks, opening stuff up real fast, stuff like that. But, AMD generally performs better when you're doing multiple things at the same time, just because of their core and thread count. But, there's definitely differences in between the two that are worth considering. But overall, there's going to be three major breakdowns there. There's going to be your Core i3s, your Ryzen 3s, your Core i5, your Ryzen 5s, and your Core i7 and Ryzen 7s. So you're going to want to remember the 3s, the 5s, and the 7s. I'd say as a good starting point, you're going to want to consider Core i3 for general computing, Core i5 for just straight down the middle. If you're doing a little gaming, a little photo editing, that'll work. Core i7 if you're looking for high performance. Next, when we go ahead and look at the motherboards, there's not too much that needs to be said about the motherboards. Overall, you just want something that needs to work with your chipset, and also, if you're interested in overclocking, you want to make sure it has the features you're looking for and everything. Some of them have Wi-Fi and everything. You can buy a Wi-Fi card for cheap, so I wouldn't put too much stake in that. But if it comes right down to two motherboards where that's the difference, go for the one that has the features you want. Next, to probably one of the more important ones, if you're graphics card. If you're interested in gaming and photo editing, you're definitely gonna want to consider this quite heavily. So in this space, you're looking at pretty much AMD versus NVIDIA. There's a ton of different options. You could talk for days on all the different options. I would say start looking at NVIDIA. They pretty much have any option within your price range and performance range that you're looking for. See what you find that you like, and then at that point look at AMD options, see if they offer something better along those range in your price and performance. Sometimes they surprise you. Next to memory. Memory is also a pretty important one, very controversial topic. For best results, first I'd get something that is the fastest amount of megahertz that both your motherboard and processor will support. Obviously, you have to take budget into account. If you can't afford the 3600 megahertz RAM, you're better off going for something a little slower, maybe 3200 megahertz would be great as well. But more to the capacity is where most people talk. 8 gigabytes is certainly fine for the average user. I'd move up to 16 if you're doing heavier photo or video editing or gaming at all, certainly. Also, if you have 1,000 tabs open in Chrome, helps there as well. As far as storage goes, I recommend SSD storage because it's gotten so inexpensive. There's a lot of options for different storage types. I'd consider something in the 500 gig to 1 terabyte range. That'll do the average user pretty well. If you're looking for more, you can do that as well. Also, if you're storing massive amounts of data and you really don't need to access it that fast, you can also go with a physical hard drive. You can pick them up for very cheap and very high capacity. Along with that, the next, and what most people don't consider the most important, but I would consider definitely extremely important component, is your power supply. it runs your whole system, and if you cheap out on it, you can really hurt your system. So overall, you just want to make sure that you have enough power for the system you're running. You can find tons of tools online that'll help tell you this, but I'd get something that's 80 plus bronze or gold certified to make sure that you're getting consistent power delivery. And then moving on, last but not least, certainly CPU coolers. So as far as CPU coolers go, if you're just doing general computing and you're not planning on overclocking at all, I would just use the stock one that comes in the box. Now, not every processor comes out of the box with one. If it does not, if you're planning on doing overclocking, you can look at both air and water coolers. I recommend air coolers for just general reliability and performance. If you're looking for extreme overclocking, you can definitely move into the water cooler range, but there comes to be a price and cost along with that. I hope you learned something today, and I really hope to keep learning more about the software behind these computers as I complete my education. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Take it easy, guys.